Hi everyone, Stepan here. I'm going to continue covering the games from the Silver Lake Open. I played 3 weeks ago now. And if you've seen any or all of the games so far, the first 5 rounds were pretty dreadful and I was by this point feeling really bad. I mean, I lost a lot of rating points. I basically didn't get a single positive result. And in round 6 I was facing another lower rated opponent from the Ukraine, I believe, or from Bulgaria. I'm not sure anymore. She's a good player, young, I think 14, 15, 16, but much lower rated than me. And before the game I was preparing a million different crazy variations and I was really hoping to get into one of them. If you've seen round 5, I mean, I was trying to complicate as much as possible, but my opponent simplified the position and was even slightly better in the end, but it was a draw. And in this game, I was hoping for something exciting. So she plays the English. I decided to go c6, and this was my first blunder. I mean, it's what I usually do, but it allows one opening, which I never want to allow again against a lower-rated opponent. It allows the Exchange Slav, and the Exchange Slav is just good for both sides, and it's not good for either side. I mean, takes and d4. This is just equal. This is just equal. Of course, the main way to enter this position is via the Slav move order like this, but it's the same thing. So we have the Exchange Slav, and I know a lot about this opening, and I can win it if my opponent makes mistakes. If they make no mistakes, then I cannot win. I mean, if you see Grandmaster games, 70% of them end in a draw because they don't make mistakes too much. Okay, we played the main line for a few moves. Okay, knight c6, bishop to f4. Here you can play bishop f5, but I always go a6. The idea is that in some positions after e3 and bishop to g4, for example, if they go queen b3, I have knight a5 and b4 and stuff like that. So a6 prevents a lot of the threats for white. Bishop e2 is the main move, e6, white castles, and now, I mean, bishop d6 is the main move and the best move, so I played it, but I'd seriously considered some alternative like bishop e7, even though it's weird, maybe even bishop b4. I just wanted to do something strange, but I ended up playing bishop d6 because I've never seen the other two moves and I didn't know how to play those positions, so I went into this takes. And here there are several possible ways to play. When I'm white in this position, I play h3 and play this position, which I think is slightly better for white. You can also play rook to c1, which is fine, and after castles go knight a4. I think this is the main line, or the most commonly played move. My opponent played knight e1, which, since I played this with both colors, I mean, I've tried it with white, not in a tournament game, in a few practice games, and I like the idea. I want to get the knight to d3. Okay, so the bishop trade is, again, the best and the only move. Declining it is not good. Queen takes, castles, knight to d3 and knight d7. And there's a game in which Drev drew Kamsky, which I actually remembered when I was playing this, that went exactly like this. So I knew what both sides wanted to do. And again, this is, if you turn on the engine here, it's all zeros. And yeah, as you can imagine, I desperately wanted to win. Okay, rook fc1 played. This move has never been played before. Usually people play rook ac1, rook fd1, but she wanted to double rooks, so that's fine. And rook fc1 is okay. If you're going to double rooks, it doesn't matter. So I basically had to do the same, because if she doubles, I have to double. If she plays rook c and d, I have to play rook c and d, because I have to counter what my opponent is doing, otherwise I'm going to be worse. White is a tempo up. Rook fc8, knight a4 played, b6 is forced. I have to prevent stuff from coming into c5. Have to control c5, rook c2 played, rook c7, rook ac8, rook ac1, rook ac8, and queen d2. Queen d2 is a good move because she wants to go knight b4 at some point. There are tricks with my rooks hanging, so when knight b4 is played, if I take it, then we have to trade rooks as well. And here I was looking for ways to improve my position. I basically have nothing to do. I cannot improve my pieces, I can only improve my king, so I played h6. Fine. She played h3, and again, I can only improve my king, so I played king f8. Luckily for me, she cannot play king f1, because then I play queen h2, and she could be in some trouble. So if all of these are traded off, which is going to happen, because she is going to play knight b4, then my king is one square closer to the center and getting here. So king f8 has to be the best move. Knight b4 played, knight takes b4, and now rook c7. That was the trick, the reason behind queen d2. So takes, and now queen takes check. I don't really mind that it's check. I saw that before I played king f8 because my king is one square closer anyway, better than on g8. Okay, knight c3 played, queen c6. I want to get into the position as much as possible. I mean, there isn't more equal than this. There's just nothing more equal than this. But here she gave me a winning chance. She played king f1, and I was really happy to do this, to see this, because now I get to create an imbalance, which an imbalance is all I ask for. I don't ask for a better position. I ask for something that I can try to build an advantage on, that I can try to play for. So of course, without thinking, I played queen c4 check and takes. Now I have a 3-2. Now it's not equal, or it's not an easy draw. It's still equal, but it's not an easy draw because both sides can now make mistakes. Okay, she played a4, which is a good move. If she doesn't play a4, I play b5 and win easily. So for example, if she plays king e2, then b5, and black is just better. What I'm going to do is just get my king in. If she plays a3, I get my king to b6 or to c6, and then, not my knight, my king, and then push and create a passed pawn. So a4 played. Played king e7, king e2, king d6, king d2, king c6. I want to support b5, knight e4, which I think is a bad move, and here black is better, because I get to play f5 with tempo, knight g3, and now I get to play knight f6 without my f pawn being blocked. Here I was really happy already. This seemed miles away from the Exchange Slav, I know, because now I actually have a better pawn structure, a potential passed pawn, a better knight, a better king. Great. f3, again, inaccurate. I don't really want to jump into e4. I want to jump into d5 to prevent king c3. So knight d5. Knight e2 wants to get into f4, which I could allow, but I don't have to. So g5 and e4. And at this position, maybe I can trade, but I went knight f6, threatening to take the pawn. So she went knight g3. And here, yeah, I had a big dilemma here. And since I don't remember how much time I had on the clock. I believe half an hour or something like that. I didn't want to spend too much time because I had the feeling that this was going to be complicated. So I ended up playing f4 quickly. I think fe4 is better than that. And in my analysis after the game, I actually concluded that the engine says it's about equal. Maybe fe4 is slightly better. But from a human perspective, fe4 should be easier to play. Because if fe4, then b5, and ab5, and weak passed pawn. And if fe4, knight e4, then I don't trade, I just play knight d5. I have a square for my knight. I have this square. Prevented, b5 coming. Good winning chances, I would say. But f4 is still okay. Knight e2 played, and now finally b5. ab5. And here I was surprised when I analyzed the game with an engine after my analysis to see that this was my only blunder so far. This was the only bad move I played so far. I took with the a pawn, which now I understand. I mean, as soon as the engine said this was a blunder, I should take with the king, I understood why. The problem is that I just never considered ruining my pawn structure. Okay, so the point is after king b5, if he goes knight c3, then the king jumps in. And if king c3, then I go a5. Control this, control this. Eventually, if this pawn moves, I'm going to, well, get the d5 square. And I would say I have a better position. Once his king moves, my king comes in. Now that I see this, I agree completely. But in the game after ab5, I took ab5. King c3 played, knight e8. Maybe he's going to try to win my pawn somehow with d5 and knight d4 and stuff like that. And yeah, of course, maybe he's going to play b3 and then put double pressure on this pawn with king b4 and knight c3 if I'm not careful. So I wanted to get my knight somewhere in the vicinity of the pawn to be able to defend. Okay, b3 played, takes, king takes, knight d6. Okay, and here she played g3 and I missed my chance to win. This is the only position in the game where I'm winning, completely winning. And I, again, just missed a simple tactic. Of course, I take knight e4. And the knight cannot be taken because I push and win. But it's slightly more complicated than that. If knight takes e4, she can take gf4, and then knight d2 check. King c3 I think is best, and knight takes f3. And after takes, takes. And this is winning. This is, the engine says -2. I don't think it's easy to win, but I think it's winning. Because this pawn is weak and the knight cannot move. Once I do this, the pawn is just hanging. Also, her knight is very much restricted. And even if it gets here, my king jumps into d5 and my position is great. Also, this pawn is weak. So this isn't a trivial win, but it should be a win pretty soon. Instead, instantly, I didn't even think, I just took fg3, which is bad. I mean, had I looked at the position, I think I would have found knight e4 in about 2 minutes, maybe even sooner. Unfortunately, I just recaptured. I just captured, which is stupid. You need to stop and think for critical positions. And if you're unaware whether the position is critical or not, you need to stop and figure it out. If you have time on the clock, just stop and figure it out. Okay, so fg3, knight g3 played. I played knight c4 and now I have an idea. I want to go knight e3 and I want to go knight g2 and I want to go knight f4 and I want to win the h3 pawn. And there isn't much she can do about that except lock her knight in on h5. So king c3, knight e3, king d3, knight g2, knight h5 has to prevent knight f4. If she doesn't, then the position is just losing for her. And here we repeated like this because we were both low on the clock and I wasn't sure what to do if she plays correctly after my trick. Let me show you. So the only winning attempt I have is knight h4, where she only has one move. She has to play f4. And now, of course, I don't take. If I take, I'm worse. I play knight to g6. And now white can get a position which I thought was drawn, but couldn't completely figure it out, visualize it. Or white could lose in a move. So if white plays f5, then knight f4 check and black is winning. You either lose the knight or you lose the game. So if you move the king, I take your knight. If you take my knight, I just queen one of the pawns. This is a very simple and winning pawn endgame, which, I mean, whatever he does, I'm going to queen one pawn. This is, if you look at the square, doesn't work. For example, f e6, I just push. Or yeah, I stop the pawn first. I can even stop the pawn first. If, I don't know, e5 check, king e6, king d2, b4, anything. This is just a simple win. After knight g6 though, of course, she, I think, was too good to play f5. So this is the position I was unsure of. Takes, takes. And d5 check, ed5, ed5, king d5. And this I thought was a draw if she goes in for this, but maybe I can win. the problem is she doesn't have to play d5. She can do many different things. I mean, still, yeah, actually, sometimes when I finished the game and my analysis and I go over the game for the third time, I think I made a mistake. So yeah, now I think I should have gone for this because it is really hard and I'm still threatening knight to f4. So probably king e3 or d5. Let's just see king e3. Yeah, king e3 is a draw. Okay, so she just has to prevent knight f4. Okay. But I mean, maybe I should have played on because this was the only way to play for the win. But I was low on the clock and I didn't want to risk losing, which happened to me once, that I pushed too hard in a drawn endgame against a lower rated opponent and I ended up losing. So I didn't want to risk that again. So here we agreed to a draw. If I were in that moment now, I would play knight h4. But you cannot turn back time. So unfortunately, another round, another bad result, and I have to say I hate the Exchange Slav when I play black, and I hate it when lower-rated opponents try to simplify as much as possible. When I play high-rated people, I don't play boring openings. I try to play complicated. Okay, 2 more games to go from this tournament, and then finally we are moving on to greener pastures. Okay, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you got to learn something from this game. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye bye.